Good morning, everyone. It's Chelsea Whittington, and we are here live once again at AtLed Financial for a financial focus discussion with the one and only Delta Jones Walker. Hi, Delta.
Hi, Miss Chelsea. How are you? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I have been thinking about this segment since we decided what it was going to be about because I'm sorry, I'm being selfish. Last month I was here. We talked about my unfortunate incident with identity theft protection, but now we're talking about early retirement. So please go ahead and give your disclaimer so we can jump into this discussion for those of us who want to retire early.
Okay. So first and foremost, securities and advisory services offered through Woodbury Financial Services, Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC. Insurance offered through AtLed Financial at 717 B Main Street, Schererville, Indiana, 46375, which is not affiliated with Woodbury Financial. So for starters,
Tell me, what's for starters?
For starters, I want to first, Chelsea, thank you for having this topic. This topic surrounds Chelsea, okay? Chelsea and I were talking, and let me put the disclaimer out. Chelsea said that I could mention that I was talking with her about this. And Chelsea says, Delta, what do you need to do in regards to preparing for retirement? I said, oh, that's real easy. And then she comes back again and she says, okay, that's real good. That's a good answer. Now, what if I want to retire in 5 years? I said, oh, Chelsea, that's early retirement. Let me tell you what you need to do.
Well, maybe like 5-ish, 7-ish. I'm flexible, but the sooner the better. And for the record, I mean, I love work. I love what I do. But let me just zoom in and say, working is overrated. If you don't have to do it, if there is a way out of it, if you can help me get out of it sooner rather than later, I'm here for it all.
But I want you to know that retirement doesn't mean that you are never going to earn a paycheck again.
Okay.
Early retirement, that's not what that means.
Okay.
Early retirement simply means that you have foregone, or say I'm done with, your 9 to 5, your hustle and bustle, what you do to make ends meet, because you've done proper planning so that you can have financial independence and you can do what you want, whether that be another job that you like, a hobby, philanthropy, community involvement, whatever that is.
Yes.
But you're preparing yourselves, and the first step in preparing yourself is knowing what it is that you want to do.
Okay. So I want to travel, both for leisure, but also travel to do speaking engagements, workshops, and continue with my business in that vein, but be on paper like kind of formally retired and pick and choose what speaking engagements that I want to do.
Okay, so you have selected what it is that you would like to do.
And teach.
Okay?
Yes.
So the next step would be to take inventory.
Okay.
You're taking inventory. You're looking at your financial net worth. And from the financial net worth piece, now you're looking at what is it going to take to support you when that time permits itself.
Okay.
How many years would you want to be in retirement?
Okay.
Is that 25 years? Is that 30 years? What is that? Those are the first two things. And I start by saying you need to say what it is that you want to do in financial independence, because by doing that, you are taking the load off of yourself, saying, oh, I'm getting ready to retire, I'm not going to have the dollars that I want. But no, you're planning to have the dollars that you need, as well as the dollars that you want.
Yes.
As well as doing what you want to do based on your comfort level.
Absolutely. And it's my hope that there are more younger people watching than anything, because if we had had this conversation when I was 25, I would be a lot more ahead of the game. I'm catching up, but I hope that people who are watching will share this with the millennials in your lives to say, now is the time to start planning for retirement. So step one you talked about was identifying what retirement looks like for you, because it's different for each one of us, and then taking inventory of how we get to that step as far as how much I want to live off of, what my lifestyle would look like ideally, and what I need to save now to get ready for that, right?
And your annual spending. What do you spend on an annual basis?
Okay.
Once you do step 1 and step 2, then the third step is your target dollar amount, because now you have assessed your net worth. You have also done a calculation of what your monthly benefits are and multiplied that times 12, so you know annually. So now, not including cost of inflation, just doing simple math, multiply that by 12, 25, or 30 years, so you know, simple math, what it's going to take for you to retire at the level to take care of your monthly expenditures and your vacations that you've added in.
Okay.
Very simple. Once you get through steps 1 through 3, half the job is done. Now what you need to do is you need to work. You need to spend below your means.
Okay.
Okay. You need to create a little, if you have a hustle or if there's something that you
Hustles with an S. Yes, multiple hustles.
There's something that you enjoy doing. I recommend that you do that, and that additional cash, that I consider that to be passive income. So the passive income, end result, that is dollars that you can store to help prepare you for your retirement.
Okay. So I'm thinking there may be questions around, well, what if I live to be 100? So right now, I'll be 49 in March. And in my mind, longevity runs in our family. My dad will be 90 on Christmas. And so I am receiving and embracing the fact that we will live a long time.
Okay.
So so I would need to plan, say, for 50 years of retirement. Okay.
Yes.
I'm up for that.
And it's an easy challenge, because if you're living below your means, you have a passive income, real estate. I mean, a lot of people say, I'm going to purchase real estate. Well, if you purchase real estate and if it's rental income, that additional dollars, once you take care of all of the expenses, that's income that you can put aside.
Yeah.
And if you are being very mindful and a good landlord and taking care of your tenants and buying more dwellings, that gives you the opportunity to continue to capitalize on this passive income stream that is coming in. You're maximizing your 401k.
Okay.
You are putting money aside because you are living below your means. So now you have additional dollars. Those dollars I would recommend that you put into a brokerage account. You need to start investing in the market.
Yeah.
That's not a process that people take, and run with. So let's just start with the mutual fund.
Yes.
But first and foremost, you need to sit with the financial advisor. You need to sit with someone to help you go through the process so that they can walk you through it step by step, because it is a process. Because a lot of people, they get stuck on this first step, which is preparing for retirement. And a lot of people have prepared for retirement and they're less than 50 years of age and they have retired.
See?
Because they started soon as they went into the workforce.
See, and that's the point I'm trying to make. Now, there are two things that I want to really drill in on. And one, when you talked about the 401k. So for a person like myself, I got out of the workforce. And so the 401k, I have some from previous jobs, which they continue to match, which is a blessing. But talk to the entrepreneur that's out there that may not have that traditional 401k with the employer match. What are your recommendations on what he or she should do as they're trying to get that nest egg built for retirement as well?
First, start.
Okay? Start putting something away.
With something. And now with the market being more robust today, they have individual 401ks.
Okay.
So with an individual 401k, if you are your own employer, you can in turn participate in a 401k. You can set one up for yourself. So the first step would be start.
Okay.
The second step is religiously, just like you pay everyone else, you need to pay yourself. And
Hallelujah.
I know that's a hard task, and it comes to the point, and Chelsea, you probably can comment on this. Before you did anything, you would sit down after your pay cycles, and you would say, okay, let me just write out these different little envelopes, and this is where the money's gonna go.
I still do that. I can't help it. I write out a list and say, here's everybody I owe. Here's everybody who owes me. So here's what savings is going to look like this month. Here's what taxes are, because that's the other piece. It's real easy to get paid from clients and just say, "Ooh,"
Yes.
and I'm like, no,
Yes.
there are taxes to be paid from that.
Yes.
So the very first thing I do before I even view it as being my income, set aside for my taxes.
And that's very smart, and I would recommend to the listening audience that's listening to this, entrepreneurs, what you need to do is you need to have a separate savings account that is earmarked just for nothing but your taxes. So you put money in that account every 2 weeks, once a month, however you're compensated. And I would recommend that you just put the money in there and you take that checkbook out of your purse or out of your wallet or however you carry it, and do not associate those dollars as your dollars, because those are the funds you're going to use to pay your taxes when that time permits itself.
Yes. And I would add that this tip came from my accountant, that you do have the option to pay on your taxes quarterly, to get that out of the way and know that you're pacing to be on level.
Yes.
And sometimes there's like a little bonus at the end when you say, oh, I've over contributed, or I thought I was going to have to pay this. And so there's also that option. But again, this all circles back to sitting down with a financial advisor to talk about what that looks like, because it's different for each one of us, right?
It is different. No two people are alike. And I'm sitting here with Chelsea, and Chelsea can say, oh, I'm Delta's bestie, so whatever Delta says, then that's going to work for me, and that's not correct. And I'm listening to Chelsea, and I could say, oh, okay, well then I'll do what Chelsea's doing. No, you need to sit with the financial advisor, because in reality, the financial advisor is going to bring something out in that conversation that you didn't even think twice about. That's very important.
Now, my second point I wanted to drill in on is for us. And when I say us, I'm talking about in the African American community, the Black community. Why is the word invest in stocks, why is that so taboo? Why don't we talk about it? Why don't we do it more? And just what's the whole deal around that? Because I think that's one of the easiest ways. If there's risk, I will put that out there, disclaimer, that there are risks to being in the stock market, but there's risk to anything. Going into business, there's a risk. So why don't we invest, Delta?
Because that is not the conversation around our kitchen table. That's not something that we grew up with. So when you can answer this, Chelsea, when you are not familiar with something, what do you normally do?
You shun it, you steer clear of it, you avoid it. You avoid it.
And so that's what people do. They avoid it and they go to the bank. And so they put their money in the bank, and the bank gives them a 2% rate of return. But the bank takes the money and they do some investing, because they lend the money to other individuals to buy a car or what have you, and make a 5 to 8% rate of return and pay you too. And so why not do it yourself? You could do that, because if you go back to 1930s, when the stock market did it was just like a depression, the stock market tumbled and everything else. But on average, from that point up until now, the market has still been averaging 8%.
See?
So again, you sit with a financial advisor, and they will walk you through the process. They will help you through this process, because just like the market goes down, it goes back up again. When the market goes down, that's the opportune time to really start to invest in the market, because you're buying things at a discount.
So Thanksgiving is coming up. They're telling us not to gather in major groups, so we'll be doing our Zooms and our FaceTimes and duos or whatever we're going to do. I think we can insert that conversation in. And also with the holidays, giving stock might be a nice way of giving something, that gift that keeps on giving.
Yes.
Can you also talk a little bit about that? It doesn't take that much to get started. And you don't have to have a lot of money to sit down with a financial advisor. I can't emphasize that enough, because as soon as somebody says, well, I'm going to talk to my financial advisor, everybody in the room is like, ooh, your financial advisor.
Right.
But that should be just as commonplace as your dentist, your hairstylist, your nail tech.
But Chelsea, before we talk about that, seeing as that we were talking about retiring early, I want to also put this bullet point in, and that is if you have a mortgage, you want to pay it off before retirement.
Ooh, that's a good point.
What you want to do is rates are very low right now, so maybe you want to refinance, but get yourself, if you can, on a bi-weekly payment. So if your house note is $1,000 and you get to the point that you're paying $500 every 2 weeks, at the end of a year, you have paid one additional house note.
Wow.
And so you want to be able to monitor it and stay in contact with your mortgage lender, because they really don't like that.
They really don't.
And what you want to do is when you see that that time is coming, you say, I want that additional payment to go towards principal. Because if you're doing that on a 30-year mortgage and you're doing that every year, you're going to cut down probably about 5 years off of your mortgage.
Oh, wow. Well, after this conversation, we need to have an offline conversation. That's my next step. I need to relook at my mortgage and see what I can do to get out of it a few years earlier. I love it. That might have to be a whole separate topic.
Yeah.
So many tips if you're just tuning in. Where have you been? I'm here with Delta Jones Walker of Atlet Financial, located right here in Cherville, Indiana. But the great news is Delta's virtual, so you can do a Zoom call with Delta, you can FaceTime, all whatever. She's set up to help you get started with your financial ventures. Currently, our topic for today is steps to early retirement. So you were talking about the investment piece. What else is on our list of things to consider for early retirement?
And so the last thing that I will really want us to emphasize on is, if this is something that you have an interest in, start preparing. Start putting together your plan. Reach out to a financial advisor, but by all means, don't sleep on this if this is something that is near and dear to your heart. My recommendation is that you start your plan and you consult with a financial advisor so you can determine exactly what it's going to take. What is your net worth? How do I figure out what is my net worth? You know, my grandparents have property for me in Alabama. Do I include that in my net worth? I'm going to receive an inheritance. I have a job. I mean, I don't know how to calculate my net worth. A lot of people say that. And so, listening audience, if that's your concern or that's something that's in your mind that you're thinking about, reach out to Atlet. Call Atlet Financial to schedule your complimentary consultation. And you can call us at 1-800-631-4866. Listen, I don't even know my
What's your number, Delta?
4866. Again, that's 1-800-631-4866. Or you can email us at djwalker@atletfinancial.com. Or you could always go on our Facebook, our Twitter, or our LinkedIn and just in turn do an instant message. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, you can inbox us.
Or inbox us on our website, you know, so that we can help you through this process. Because right now, our younger generation, which I understand that they're like, look, I have worked and now I want to enjoy. I don't want to be 90 years old doing a job. I want to be 90 years old enjoying what I want to enjoy. And we're able to help you make that happen. So just reach out to us here at Atlet so we can help you through the process.
And I love to hear about the success stories. So Delta is my new spin buddy. We get together every couple of weeks and we go to a spin class. And while we're en route to spin or on our way home from spin, I get to get that front row seat attention and ask questions. And you were telling me, of course, without mentioning names, but can you just give us an example of maybe one of your clients that's on that road to financial independence and early retirement? It always inspires me. I don't need to know the names and all the details. When you say he or she did A, B, or C, I'm like, yay, that could be me.
So I was sharing with Chelsea that I have a client, for disclosure, no names listed, and the client is a millionaire. And Chelsea was like, Really?
Right.
How old is the client? And I said, the client is 51. And
Ooh.
Chelsea said, 51?
51?
How long has she been your client? And I said, we've been together almost 20 years. And Chelsea said, okay, so, I don't mean to get nosy. I said, well, Chelsea, there's only so much I can tell you. But she says, okay, so did she have money? I said, Chelsea, she almost fired me, and I almost fired her. We had a rocky relationship at the beginning.
Okay.
But we went through a few jobs because she was downsized, and she had a lot of student loan debt, and she had a lot of credit card debt. So we got past all of that. We got in a groove, got on her savings path, started investing in the market, and now she's a millionaire.
51. See,
So-
that inspires me. I don't need to know who it is. I'm just like, whoever you are, I'm on your trail. I'm trying to do the same thing by, again, living under our means.
Living under your means. And that was the biggest challenge for her, was living under her means, because she had a whole lot of credit card debt and she had a lot of student loan debt. So the first thing we had to do was we had to get out of debt. And then once we got out of debt, then I said, we can't go back.
That's right.
And so, again, we were having this tug of war, because she was like, well, Del, I think I should be able to treat myself. And I said, yeah, you can treat yourself. Buy yourself a stop. And
I love it.
And so, we were across the line all the time. And then it became a relationship that she just said, I really enjoy talking to you, Delta, because you always bring me back to my reality.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's to the point, she's just like enjoying herself, because she says, Delta, I have money sitting in my checking account that has no name on it. And I said, when you say no name, she said, all my bills are paid. I pay my bills at the first of the month, all my bills. And so when I get paid, it's just like my money's sitting in my account. And then she's looking at her brokerage account. So she's just like in a place now that she says that if I had not have met you, Delta, I don't think I would be here. I replied and said, oh yeah, you probably would have. And she says, no, Delta, because you are one of the few advisors, because you're not the first financial advisor I had. I've had a few. And the other ones, I pretty much told them, they said what they had to say, and that was the end of our discussion. And you were always holding me accountable of everything that I did. So I thank you for that. And I said, you're welcome. But my story is, there are other individuals out here, Chelsea, that I want to make millionaires as well. So just please reach out to AtLed, our toll-free number for those that are listening that's here in the Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland area is 219-513-3710. Or you can always call the 1-800 number, 1-800-631-4866, to reach out to AtLed to schedule your complimentary consultation.
Well, I can't tell you how excited I am about having these types of conversations, but not just the conversation. Action is required behind it, and that's why I'm always so happy to come to AtLed Financial and chat with Delta, because I always learn something new. We have to talk about that mortgage piece when we get off camera.
Okay.
If you are interested in having a financial advisor who will sit on the same side of the table with you, talking and working with you and not talking at you, then I highly recommend Delta Jones Walker of AtLed Financial. And I'm always happy to say that I'm not just saying it, I have experienced it, and I'm still experiencing it, and I want those who are watching to get that same type of customer service that I am currently receiving. And I want you to think about early retirement or just regular retirement and estate planning. Delta can help you with these things, because the unexpected also happens. We can close with that, Delta, where we're talking retirement, but there are also those times that we're in a season of COVID. There are individuals who are perishing on a daily basis. How important is it, Delta, to have our financial affairs in order, whether it's early retirement, regular retirement, or the unexpected?
Put a plan in place. It is important. You do not want to have your family members grieving and they don't know where to begin.
Mm-hmm.
You do not want your family members to be in a place that the unknown, and you can't speak for yourself, and you have things put in place, but no one knows, and they don't know where to begin. So again, put a plan in action. Reach out to Atlet Financial so that we can help you get your plan in place.
And there you had it. You have been watching the Financial Focus with Delta Jones Walker of Atlet Financial. I have been your host, Chelsea Whittington of CWIT PR. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
All right.